Okay, welcome to episode 3 of Corona Sessions. I'm Kristie.
I'm Mike.
And I'm looking all sparkly because you can't go out anywhere. So we've come up to the study. So it's like a date. Look, cheers.
Yeah. And clearly I, more than 10 years in marriage, I've got dressed up for the occasion. So.
Okay, so we wanted to, thanks. Well, I'll just sparkle in the meantime, that's all right. Okay, so I just wanted to do a few shout outs for support we've had so far to my post-corona Kristie that ended up on the cutting room floor. Thank you to those people who did appreciate it and thought it would be good to see my monobrow and my mo in later episodes. And thanks to Nat, who did send me a pic of what she might look like at the end. That was really funny. Thank you also to Wade and Suze for your hysterical after dark sessions of our videos. It was quite entertaining and I was crying with laughter. It was really funny. And thank you for all the love and value people reaching out and sharing with us. We've got lots of DMs and even people in the street telling us that it's had a positive impact, which is basically what we're trying to do. We're trying to look at what the skills we have are, particularly Mike being the psychologist, and share some tips to help us all get through this time, because I know even just talking about it, I've sort of implemented quite a few of the things we've been talking about, and it's been a great distraction. So,
and just building on that, our intention is not to tell people how to suck eggs here. It's just trying to just really remind everybody of the tools that they've got, and in the moment sometimes we forget the tools that we have.
Yeah.
And so it's just a reminder to help, because everybody listening is a high functioning, intelligent person. They just need hopefully just a little reminder so that they can apply the skills and tools that are available to them.
And I think too, in times of stress, those ways of nourishing yourself are often the first things to go, because you're focusing on all the important bits. But in actual fact, they're the important bits too. Okay, so tonight we're looking at nourishing the physical self. And we're going to look at the role that hormones play in our ability to deal with stress and pressure. Over to you.
So it's very normal for the body to experience stress. In fact, it's just part of the whole normal life experience to experience stress, and our bodies are built to deal with that. The only people who are not stressed in the world are deceased. So it is a normal part of life to get stressed every now and again. And when we do experience stress, we have two stress hormones that get released into our system. One's called adrenaline, which I'm sure you've probably heard of, and the other is called cortisol, which you may or may not have heard of. And basically they go up when we're feeling that stress arousal, and they have a very adaptive, positive benefit for our body in terms of helping us think faster, run faster, breathe deeper, burn extra energy, all the things to help us rise to an occasion. And in a performance-based environment, that is very adaptive and very useful. The problem is our bodies were only meant to be able to have those adrenaline and cortisol boosts for short bursts, and then we're meant to go back to a more calm, at rest state. But when we've got constant worry, constant pressure, and these stress hormones stay up for long extended periods of time, that's when it starts to have a detrimental effect on our physical well-being, and it actually starts to have quite a corrosive effect on our physical health.
Okay. So, sorry, I'm just trying to find where we're up to. So what are the strategies available to us that can actually counteract the negative impact of cortisol and adrenaline?
Okay, so one of the most important things can be just simply looking at how you reframe the things that cause you stress, so that they're no longer in of themselves stressful, if that's possible. So all the good news that we're hearing about government support and all those sorts of things help, because it starts to take some of the pressures off. Hopefully you're benefiting from some of the news that's been coming out. The other is doing the things that we talked about on the last two episodes, structure, as well as intellectual, social and emotional strategies to help yourself out. But the other one is really through physical exercise. So if you've got all this extra energy, which is effectively what adrenaline and cortisol give us, you need to use that energy. So a really helpful thing is to just get out and start doing exercise, and you start burning off some of this energy that's floating around in your body, because if you don't, you're going to start having disturbed sleep, irritability and the like. And so getting out and just doing physical exercise helps burn off some of the energy that's in your system, and it also has the benefit of releasing endorphins.
And also, I know the only thing that really helps me with exercise is getting rid of that cup of overwhelm, like really sort of dumping it when you're out there exercising and letting it go because of all the good hormones that are...
And I think a good point where you know that you're actually getting the benefit of the physical exercise is when you start to experience little epiphanies. You start to feel good, you start to feel a bit taller, a bit lighter, but you're also having crystallised and clearer thinking. And that is a really, really positive indication that you're getting the physical benefits of physical exercise, and you're starting to counteract the negative impacts of adrenaline and cortisol.
So even because you use that word a lot, so now I do, reframe, is that we can reframe this whole corona experience and be like, well, this could be our health reboot.
Yeah.
This could be our chance to, in this time of slowness and uncertainty, this can give us structure and focus and allow us to come out the other side feeling great in terms of from a health perspective, because we know we're looking after ourselves.
One of the best antidotes to fear is hope. So if you're looking forward to something, if you're planning for something, you're working towards something like rebooting your physical well-being, your health, your fitness, that's a really, really positive step forward.
So we also wanted to talk about the positive hormones and how we can help the positive hormones get working around our body, oxytocin. So how can we do that to sort of counteract the negative ones?
So oxytocin is a peptide hormone in the brain, which is associated with what we commonly call the love drug. That's what people usually refer to it. And basically the idea of oxytocin is it helps us feel healthier and happier and feel loved and nurtured. And the best way to stimulate the natural production of that hormone is through affection. So a cuddle, a kiss, maybe you get a bit of cardiovascular exercise at the same time.
A little bit extra.
So all of those things really help bring our stress levels down by releasing oxytocin into our bloodstream. So if you're thinking about how you can show support and care for others as well as get it back, think of when there's the right time for a bit of touch, a hug, a kiss, a cuddle, all those sorts of things. Oxytocin is a wonderful antidote as well to stress, and helping us feel more optimistic and buoyed and hopeful about the future.
So all this positive energy from others circulating at the moment, and that element of connection and keeping connected, would you say that's helping our rush of oxytocin?
Well, I think oxytocin, you're going to get more of that through affection, expression of affection. The positive energy that's being put out there into people putting rainbows on their fences, all the good news about the people that are actually recovering from coronavirus, the amount of people that are volunteering to help at hospitals, the amount of government support that's going into people that have been impacted through the loss of their jobs. All of these things help reframe the stresses in our lives because they give us a sense of hope that things can improve. And whilst we're in hibernation, we now have an opportunity to think about how we can reboot ourselves physically, and that also has a very, very positive impact in terms of counteracting the negative effects of stress.
I suppose this connects to what you've already said, but a lot about linking back to nature that we can do even in our backyard at the moment. So how's that going to help us?
Well, there's a lot of research that shows that being in a natural environment has a very, very positive effect on our mood, and also emptying the stress bucket that we carry. So sitting under a tree, listening to the birds, going a walk through a park, getting out in your backyard, any of these sorts of things are really, really positive.
Taking your shoes off?
Taking your shoes off.
Grass.
You see athletes now starting to do it where they lie on their back on the ground and they just centre themselves to the earth. Sounds a bit hippie, but it actually has a very, very good calming, relaxing effect on the body. Change environment as much as you can too. Now, obviously, that's difficult when we're homebound, but how can you make it a little bit exciting? And one of our friends that took their kids camping in the backyard. So how
two of our friends actually.
Yeah. So how do you make it a bit of fun, but also get out to nature and get back to the rhythms when the sun comes up, when the sun comes down, and you listen to the sounds of nature. It has a very, very calming, earthing effect on our bodies.
And something else I want to mention too with those friends, Melissa and Kylie, is in that coming back to nature and camping in a tent in your backyard. The kids were so excited in both families, but also both these families gave a sense of appreciating that return to simplicity, which, again, I'll use that word reframe, is that's helping me a lot at the moment, to reframe what can I learn from this situation, how can I better myself in this situation, and reframing all this awfulness that we're hearing into where's my learning and how can I improve my ways.
And I think this whole experience has had a really positive effect in terms of creating a sense of community, at least where we live, where people feel like, well, we really are in this together and we need to pull together, and can we help each other with anything? We're offering toilet rolls to neighbours and whatever. Just nice kindness so that people don't feel alone and they feel cared for.
Yeah, that connection, and even having my first Zoom wind down with friends the other night, that was fabulous, and connecting even when there's distance is really important. So this is the last question for tonight. Not tonight, we're not that show. The last question for tonight is, in what ways do we reward ourselves now that are different to how we may have done before, which is a big one, I know, for a lot of friends out there, for myself. The reward system has to change because our world is a bit different.
I think a lot of reward that we've given to ourselves for a long time has been through consumption of stuff, buying nice things, going out to nice places, and both of those activities have been severely truncated by the whole lockdown. So we need to look at what are other ways that are more, I guess, we can satisfy our need for reward, and probably a good way of doing that is a sense of accomplishment and achievement of things that you're working towards. So setting little goals for yourself about how far you might walk, or how much exercise you achieve, or your level of fitness, or losing some weight, or activities that you do with your kids.
New
each
recipes.
Day, try something different, learn a new skill, and actually sort of chip away at building up on those things through setting little goals for yourself, and that the sense of achievement and accomplishment of realising those goals has a really, really positive effect on our mood. And if it's a goal on something that is meaningful to you, then all the better. In fact, that's really what you should be focusing on, achieving goals on topics and subjects that are really important for you that you can do from home.
I like that too, because, we've got this really big sense of time at the moment. Like, there's this forever time. And if we set ourselves even some big scary goals that challenge ourselves, we've got the time to invest. Something you don't hear at the moment, which I think is amazing. People aren't going, I'm too busy.
No.
Or can you do that? Like, I'm
Yeah.
too busy, I'm too busy, I'm too busy. Like, no one's saying that.
So what are some of the goals that you've been putting off for yourself? What have been some of your New Year resolutions that you haven't got around to because you've been too busy? What are those things? Pick out 2 or 3 that really matter to you, and then build a structure around how you're going to incrementally work towards those things, because we're going to be in our houses for at least 3 months, if not longer. So we've got plenty of time to work towards those goals.
My game of Kristie hide and no seek is going well. For at least half an hour a day of me on my own. Okay, so thank you for listening. We really appreciate it, and we're just sending so much love out to the community at the moment, and wherever you are and whoever you're watching this with, make sure you just love each other be kind and compassionate, and
look after your husbands. They need oxytocin. Look after them.
And we need chocolate in small amounts, not to overindulge. But at least I brushed my hair this time, so that's good. Okay, thank you for listening.